Well, thank you everybody for attending today's UW System Trek. Today we have Phillips-Medisize, a Molex company, and this trek is hosted this week by the University of Wisconsin Stout. And a special thanks and shout out to Haley Carr with UW Superior Career Services and a member of our trek committee for managing our technology. She's coming in clutch, so we're glad that she's here. So there will be a link showing up in the chat box for all of our attendees. It's an official registration form. So just make sure that you complete that form before you leave today's meeting. We would greatly appreciate that. And then I just want to talk a little bit about the treks in general. So traditionally, a career trek is going to be something that you do on site at a specific organization to get an inside look to the company and its culture. The students get the chance to hear what the companies look for when hiring, how to stand out in recruitment, and just other details surrounding entry level and internship opportunities. Since now we are unable to do that and that's not possible, the UW campuses are coming together to provide live remote sessions facilitated by the Badger State employers. So here we are. We are hosting these virtually this fall and this coming spring in 2021. We had 13 different treks each semester, and each in a different UW school will host one each week. This initiative is supported by the UW system president, Tommy Thompson. There was a press release that went out in September as well about this, so we were really excited about that. Next week's trek is going to feature Kenosha Public Museum and is hosted by UW Parkside. And again, there will be a link in the chat feature. Looks like Haley got that posted for us, so be sure that you fill that out before you leave today's session. But I'm going to go ahead and introduce Chris with Phillips-Medisize, a Molex company, and let her get started with her information.
Great. Thank you, Katie. I'm really happy to be here today, and thank you for inviting me to this Career Trek series. We are thrilled to be a part of this program. And by the way, we hire many UW grads and interns at our company. So our presentation today will be about 30 minutes, and we'll cover the topics that are listed here and then follow up with Q&A at the end. So to start with introductions, I will introduce myself. Again, Chris McDonald. I'm a rotational program manager at Phillips-Medisize, and we also have some guest speakers with us today. Brenton, who is a plastics process engineer. He graduated from UW Stout. We have Drew, who is a manufacturing engineer at our company, and he was from River Falls or graduated from River Falls. Also Megan, she's a quality engineer. She went to UW Platteville. And Belinda, who is a validation engineer. And we'll hear from them in a few minutes about their roles and their involvement in the rotational program. And by the way, Belinda graduated from UW-Madison. So who are we? What are we about? We're a contract manufacturing company. And what is a contract manufacturer? So we do not make any, or the products that we make, none of them are our own. We don't have our name on any of the products. So our customers are medical companies such as Medtronic, Exact Science, Regeneron. We make products for them. So we provide the services, and specifically in plastics injection molding for their products that they come to us to make for them. So we provide end-to-end services to medical device companies. So again, the end-to-end means they can come with a design, and we take a look at it and see if we can manufacture it for them. Sometimes they have us design the product for them or do an update to a design. And then we can manufacture it, assemble it, and actually distribute it for them. We are the MPS division of Molex. That's the Medical Pharma Solutions. Phillips-Medisize is headquartered in Hudson, Wisconsin, and Molex is headquartered in Lisle, Wisconsin, which is Illinois, suburb of Chicago. We also are part of the Koch Industries enterprise, and Koch is headquartered in Wichita, Kansas. Thought you might enjoy this slide. Really shows all the industries that the whole Koch enterprise is involved in. And as you can see here, it's a wide variety of industries that they have ownership in. And just wanted to ask a quick question here, and those of you who are attending, wondering how many employees do you think we have worldwide at Koch Enterprises? You want to put that in the chat?
Yes, I forgot to mention at the beginning that if you do have a question, go ahead and throw it in the chat. We'll address all of those at the end. And just as Chris said, go ahead and throw your guesses in here. All right, they're coming in. 5,000, 2,500, 34,000, 10,000, 10,000, 20,000.
So Koch Enterprises worldwide, we have over 130,000 employees. So we are a very large corporation. It is privately held, but a very large corporation worldwide. So our medical manufacturing facilities are not we are not a typical manufacturing plant, what you might think of when you first hear working for a manufacturing plant and what that might look like in your mind and think about when you hear manufacturing. But our manufacturing is different for medical manufacturing. We have clean rooms. We have class 7 and class 8 clean rooms. So that really means the rooms are very, very clean. It's quieter. It's not a very loud, dirty kind of environment that you're working in for the manufacturing. We also have assembly facilities for some of the products that we make for our customers. Automation is in robotics. We're heavy into those areas. And we have about 5,000 to 6,000 employees at PM. So maybe a little misleading with 130, but just our portion of it, Phillips-Medisize, is around that 5,000 to 6,000 mark for employees. We do have 26 locations and in 10 different countries. Here's a fun slide showing you where our manufacturing plants are, our tool builds, and design development. So we have our Asia area and Europe and United States and Mexico. Also, here are some awards that we have been recognized for, and thought that would be a fun slide for you to take a look at. So who do we serve? These are the healthcare market segments that we serve. So drug delivery devices, connected health, medical devices, and diagnostics. And I have slides subsequent to this to describe to you what that entails. 80% of our business is in the healthcare market segment. We also have a commercial market segment, and that's about 20% of our business. We have 2 facilities, one in Phillips, Wisconsin, and one in Medford, Wisconsin, that make the commercial products. So things for automobiles, defense, military, automotive, and industrial. So to break this down a little bit, the drug delivery, we manufacture components, subassemblies, and full drug delivery devices for the items listed below. This is just to give you an idea of the different things that we work on for our customers. I can't give you specific names of products because of intellectual property agreements that we have with our customers, so that information is kept private. But I can give you ideas of different kinds of devices that we manufacture for them and design. Also, medical devices, again, we manufacture these components, subassemblies, and full devices used for surgery and other medical procedures. So medical things they would use on surgery for instance, back surgery. Diagnostics. So again, components, subassemblies, and full diagnostics kits used for blood sugar testing, prenatal testing, DNA testing, and also now for COVID products as well. So connected health, one thing that we are really exciting technology that's out there, I find it very fascinating, is this connected health. And what we're doing is, you can see the different devices on the left that we would connect to using, for instance, an app that is developed on a smartphone and collects that kind of data from the device that the patient is using, and then stores that information so in the cloud, so that the medical team can download that information on the patient and treat them accordingly. So are they taking their medication as they should? Are they missing any medication, or what times they're taking it? And then can better treat their patients. So that's an exciting new application that's out there. Some ideas there are like insulin devices for diabetic and inhalers. A little bit about our MBM culture. So market-based management is what MBM stands for, and it's really the philosophy of the company. The framework was developed by Charles Koch, the owner of Koch Industries, and we really try to apply the guiding principles that he has set forth in our everyday business. He also wrote a book called Good Profit, and it's something that you might want to take a look at. You can Google market-based management if you want to learn more about it and see what it's, how we align ourselves, and if you're aligned with those kinds of principles as well. This happens to be a picture of a class of RPEs that we hired in 2019. And when RPEs is rotational program engineers. These are the guiding principles. So this is really what we strive for in the business, and to really try to apply these 8 guiding principles. So integrity, stewardship and compliance, principled entrepreneurship, transformation, knowledge, humility, respect, self-actualization. So engineering roles. We have a variety of different engineers at our company, and this is just a picture of some of them that we employ, different types of engineering roles. And again, it's not all inclusive, but a really large list of different types of engineers. And next, we'll hear from our engineers at our company, who will explain what they do in their roles. So if Brenton is on the line, we can start off with you.
Yep, I just got on.
Great, perfect timing.
All right, so what a plastics process engineer does is going to be more specifically related to plastic materials in general. You may see a lot of times where there's companies like, I'll say, Ace Chemical that are looking for process engineers. And really what we're doing here at Phillips-Medisize is more on the plastics side of everything. So that'll be one of the bigger distinctions, I guess you'll see when looking for different roles. But as far as what the plastics process engineer does, we really get involved from the beginning. So the customer will reach out to the company with a product concept or design, I guess more after the concept part. They're ready to go. They have a part design. The quoting team will get us involved, and we can start doing some basic design for manufacturing analysis. And that helps feedback to the quoting team so they can provide the most accurate quote possible. Once we do that, and say the business gets awarded, then a core team is developed, and that's across many different engineering disciplines that we have here. And the design for manufacturing really gets driven down further. Take much deeper dives in. We do red line proposals. So say we find something that would cause the part to be unable to be manufactured, whether it's an undercut or some interference. Um, we would call that out to the customers, or if we say, hey, you might have a potential defect here, we recommend doing this. Really working with the customer and their R&D teams to get some of those potential issues resolved before ever getting too far down where you have mold steel cut. And during that DFM process, the tooling engineers are pulled in, and we really began working on basic mold design concepts. Um, not the details of, hey, this is where everything's going to be, but hey, we could use this type of mechanism to make this feature. Basic, this is how it would sit in the steel, type of everything. And then from the plastics process engineer side, we take the part model and calculate the volume and surface areas, and then we come up with um, candidate machines either on site or begin working on what a particular part would need for a machine to be developed, and start that quoting and procurement process. We also work a lot with mold flow analysis, which is using computer software to simulate how we're going to fill a part. And we use that as also a troubleshooting tool in DFM process. Maybe something gets shown if it's going to be a defect through this analysis, and we can then feed that back to the customer as well. And really, once all that activity is done, there's different stage gate processes that we follow that make sure all of the events are lined up, all our T's are crossed and our I's are dots. And then we really get into the developing the process flow of the part, and that's coming in from the raw material. What does the flow path of the plastic look like, all the way from bringing in the raw material from the suppliers to getting it to the machines, to molding the part, to bringing it out of the mold, where we then work with the manufacturing engineer on the demolding aspect and how it's going to be presented to our operators. So that's really what we do there. A lot of times we'll use a product like Microsoft Visio. It really helped with the flow charts, lay it out, and propose it to the rest of the team. Then we have what's called a process development workbook, where we go through all the different scientific molding studies. And we use that. We set it up with all of the inputs as far as like starting points for specific plastics as recommended by the material suppliers. And then we work with our sampling team to really drive down what a specific mold wants. Sometimes we do have to deviate from what the material suppliers recommend for processing ranges. And that all becomes justified based on, hey, it took, X amount of temperature to even be able to fill the part out. And then with doing that, the process development workbook works through the IQ, the DOE, the OQ, and the PQ steps for validating a product in compliance with the FDA and ISO guidelines. We'll go through all of those. IQ is really the basic molding studies and developing a process window, which is the minimum and maximum processing parameters that are used or that could be used to make a part. And then we'll use the DOE or design of experiments to test the potential ranges. The metrology team will then take and measure all of the criticals that the customer is deemed as important to the part. We'll plug that into Minitab and analyze to figure out what the main process levers are. And we can use that to drive down to make sure that we can produce this part capable every time it goes in. Then we proceed to OQ based on the results of the DOE, and then ultimately PQ, which is the production qualification run, which is the first time that the general production team takes care of running the product. Once all that's run, we have a formal, we call it gate 4. It's a handoff meeting. And that's the official transfer from the engineering team to sustaining production. And then to top it all off, once it's all handed off to production, you continuously improve upon it and drive down scrap and reduce costs where possible.
Thank you, Breton. We'll move on to Drew and to talk about the manufacturing engineer role.
Yeah, I'm Drew. I'm a manufacturing engineer at our Global Innovation and Development facility. Unlike our other facilities, we're more focused on the early design and development of a new medical product. Other manufacturing engineers at our other facilities, they work with production. They get assembly lines up and running and process improvement and upgrades to that to create parts faster and more accurately. At GID, we get customers that come in with products that are as early as napkin sketches that they made up the night before in a meeting, all the way through customers wanting us to help with design verification testing and clinical trials. So as a manufacturing engineer at GID, I help with the concept selection and manufacturability. So we make sure that in the end, we're going to be able to put this together. We're going to be able to make the product. I'm heavily involved in equipment process development. So we work with equipment like ultrasonic welders, laser welders, high precision leak testers, vision systems ranging from high megapixel cameras down to just simple sensors that are go, no-go gauges. And then we work with benchtop units for some of that early on development, all the way through highly automated work cells that are getting ready to be transferred to our production facilities. So as the manufacturing engineer, you become the subject matter expert of the equipment. So if equipment goes down or you're having any kind of issues, you're expected to understand the equipment and be able to troubleshoot, whether that's calling in a vendor or troubleshooting yourself. You work with part inspection characterization. So you get these parts that the customer says, we have this idea. What sort of quality controls do we need to put in place? So inspections, process characterization, stuff like that. And then process optimization and upgrading. So you'll start with that benchtop fixture and you'll just progressively get more and more optimized and upgrade the equipment more and more as the customer needs more parts for different stages of design.
All right. Thank you, Drew. Next is Megan. She's a quality engineer at our facility in New Richmond.
Yeah, I'm actually, so we have two different types of quality engineers. We have sustaining and then NPI or new product introduction. So I fall into the sustaining side. So as a sustaining engineer, our main goal is to keep our product lines up and running. So if we have problems or issues that come up with our production, we need to determine what the root cause of it, determine if that product can be used, and then taking actions to prevent those same things from happening again. We also do a lot of process improvement. So we have our CAPAs, which are our corrective actions and preventative actions. So that is just, again, preventing issues from happening in our system and how to eliminate those. We also do continuous improvement events. Some other things that we might be involved in is if we have like print revision updates. We are involved for getting all of the paperwork and documentation for those types of things done. We also, depending on what your customer is, so each quality engineer is kind of assigned their own customer in lines that they have to keep running. Depending on the customer, you'll have to communicate with them when you're either updating different parts, projects or processes, and then if depending on what the issues are, you might have to be relaying that information to them. On the new product introduction side, they also have specific customers assigned to them. So this is where they are validating new processes and products that are coming into our facility. They kind of go hand in hand with validation engineers, which you'll hear from Belinda in the next screen. But depending on how many quality engineers and validation engineers, the quality engineers might be writing protocols, completing gauge R&Rs for measurements. They might be creating measurement programs. So when we get our parts, we run them on a Zeiss or a CMM machine and make sure that they are measuring within our tolerances that the customer sets for us. They develop the quality processes. So for metrology programs, like I just mentioned, we also have a lot of visual inspections, whether it is what the surface finish of a product is or something similar to that. We also have different protocols for sampling. So when you're in that development phase, determining how many products you run, but how many of them do you actually have to sample to determine that all of them were good. And during the NPI side for a quality engineer, they're heavily involved with customer communication. So making sure that everything is getting done according to the timeline and that any issues, again, are being communicated to the customers.
Thanks, Megan. Belinda, do we have you?
Yes, I am on.
Awesome. Awesome. We were having some technical difficulties, but we're good now. So great. Thanks, Belinda.
So I am a validation engineer, and the best way to describe validation engineering is that it's a position that wears many hats. We are the insurance agents for quality, manufacturing, sometimes even construction. And that's kind of seen in our 3 different types of validations. We'll have commercial production validations that are customer-based and team-focused with different equipment to build the components and assemble them together. We'll have facility validations that validate the construction of a room to certain specifications, such as clean rooms, airlocks, and white rooms. And we'll have molding validations that validate the mold and the material interactions with the mold. In all of these validations, our goal is to document all the requirements and the verifications to present to an outside source, such as the FDA in an audit. We make sure that these documents show that we followed the specifications, they were done correctly, and we can prove it. They're consistent, and we minimize risk as much as possible. And in our role, we're able to do that however we want, as long as we can justify it to that outside source. In order to meet this goal, we first need requirements. And we obtain that from the other engineers. And that's where that insurance agent kind of comes in. We obtain the URS, TFEMA, and test methods from the other engineers, and we write out a protocol and test cases that meet all of those requirements and minimize the risk that we are seeing with our process. After that, we kind of sort of change into a detective role where we have to make sure that we're actually meeting the criteria and we check it. We find any faults and we make sure that we're getting test methods where there might need to be, and meeting specifications as necessary. And we'll rewrite those test cases to better prove out that we are meeting those requirements. And we'll do it again and again until we feel like it's good. Sometimes we'll even do a dry run to prove it out. After that, we'll execute the protocol in order to start the validation process. And at that point, we kind of become an engineer, because there's never a protocol and test case that comes out exactly as you want it. There's always something that happens. And in order to fix those problems, we do a deviation where we find the root cause, we document all of that and figure out possible explanations, and we'll try those out in the deviation and re-execute the protocol and test cases in order to make sure, well, did we solve the problem? And if that works, we continue on with our test cases, our IQ, OQ, and PQ until they're all complete. After that, we'll write a summary report for an auditor and the people at the site to determine what is validated, what is not, and this allows the use of whatever is being validated, the commercial production, the facility, or the mold, to be used in a controlled and documented state.
Great, thanks everybody. All of them will be staying on the line, so if you have questions, they can, and you'd like to ask them at the end, they'd be happy to answer some questions for you. Next, we'll move into job opportunities, what we have available at Phillips-Medisize. Again, first, I'd like to talk to you about our rotational program. This is an 18-month program for engineering graduates, which consists of 3 6-month rotations at 3 of our locations throughout Wisconsin or the US. And I'd like to play the video for you because I think they do a nice job of describing what the program's all about.
Coming out of college, I was really nervous about being stuck in an entry-level position and something that I don't like. I'm still in a gray area and I don't really know where I want to end up. So the rotational program was a perfect opportunity to explore different engineering disciplines and really network and grow my skills and career development opportunities.
I was really interested in the products that we make. So seeing the direct impact that some of the products can have on people is very cool. And then also, I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do coming out of college. So I like the rotational because right now I'm in manufacturing, my next rotation's in quality, and then my third rotation will likely be in something different. So I kind of get to figure out which avenue I want to go down before being stuck in that role.
I thought it was a cool way to get to experience a lot of the different facets of engineering, and the fact that it was a 6-month rotation and allowed you the opportunity to really explore things that you're potentially interested in was really appealing to me. Because I know nowadays a lot of people from my generation really do like to go out there and find what they're truly passionate about. I think this is a great way of going about that.
With rotational engineers, you get assigned a mentor, and that mentor is basically you're glued at the hip. You're shadowing them around the business, you're taking them to meetings, you're really grooming them to essentially be you.
You come into a new company, especially out of graduating from college, and you don't have any mentorship. You come in there and you struggle. You're frustrated. You can't complete the tasks that you want to do. You don't understand the systems and those other things. So by doing a mentorship, you get an opportunity to learn from those, and you can gain some experience and, I guess, catapult into the company a lot faster and bring us up to speed quicker.
Mentorship is so important because it allows you to create contacts and feel comfortable in your position. We're able to teach you how to function in your role, teach you the soft skills that you might not have learned fresh out of college, and just really set you up for success on your career path.
If you don't really know where you're ending up after college, and you don't know if this is the route that you want to be, and a rotational program is always really great to
try to figure that out and try to get a lot of different positions and a lot of different experience that's going to help you anywhere that you go.
If you don't know where to go, where you want to go yet, or exactly what you want to do with your career, I highly recommend it because the rotational program offers multiple places to jump around and gives you the opportunity to do multiple things and figure out exactly where you want to go, what you like, what you don't like. And all experience is valuable, no matter where you go and what you do. But you can, if you find out what you like during that time, then that's even better.
All right. So I think that gives you a good overview of what the rotational program is about. One thing I did want to point out again is that you are assigned a mentor and a manager, rotation mentor and rotation manager, for each of the 6 months, the 3 6-month rotations. We also offer, there we go, whoops, internship opportunities. So we have summer, full-time summer internships, and also internships that last throughout the year. So if you're at a university that's close to one of our facilities, that's an opportunity for you as well. So wanted to discuss where we recruit, Handshake or CareerLink, any of those university job boards, at career fairs, also at our company website. We participate in events at university campuses and would love to be speakers for professors or your clubs and organizations as well. The rotational program, we start recruiting in the fall. We're right in the thick of it right now, recruiting for rotational program engineers during this season. And then internships, we recruit year round. These are some of the engineering majors that we look for and that we hire. Also to the right are some of the things that we look for in candidates. Leave that up for a moment, you can read through. So we want you to join us. What I would say is check out our opportunities. We have internships, co-ops, full-time opportunities across all Coke companies and multiple disciplines that are located in various cities throughout the US. And this is with the whole Coke enterprise. And if you see that website link there, the Coke Careers.early career website, that's for all of the companies listed at the bottom of the screen, which we call the Big 6 or Big 7. And then if you're interested specifically in the rotational program, then we are taking those applications now and interviewing now for that. There will be a January start. We're hiring 5 to start in January and 5 to start in June of 2021. You can see it's job number 1327. If you're interested in Phillips-Medisize internships only, just for Phillips-Medisize, none of the other companies listed at the bottom of this page, then what I would suggest to you starting usually you can year-round look at our website, but really for the summer, they will start posting those positions in January. So you will go to the Phillips-Medisize website and then it'll say join us and then it'll bring you over to the Coke website and then you can look for jobs there and search. And then I also would encourage you to check out our LinkedIn page and join our company LinkedIn. And also, if you have any questions, my email address is there as well. And this now concludes our presentation portion of this. And if you have any questions, I would like to introduce Richard. Richard is currently a rotational program engineer. He is in his 2nd rotation, and Richard went to UW-Madison. So if there are any questions, you can
Yes, we do have some questions.
Great.
Yes. So one student at the very beginning had mentioned when you were talking about the tech things that one of her classmates had mentioned that they have a device in their arm that communicates with their phone. So just thought that was pretty cool. So another question is there a job opportunity for international students for their optional practical training?
And when you say international students, I'm assuming they'd be not a U.S.
Correct.
Okay. For the rotational program, we do not have any opportunities for international students because we're ITAR facilities, and so we do not sponsor international students. However, we are growing our program globally so that we are adding a rotational program in the European region and also in the Asia region and in Mexico. So that's to come in the future.
That's really exciting. Do you have jobs for biomedical engineering?
Yes, I think I'll let, I have a biomed on here, don't I? Glenn?
Yes. I am a biomedical engineer. I went into the rotational program and I actually did manufacturing engineering. My first and second rotation, the first one was at GID, the Global Innovation and Design Center. And the second one was at New Richmond, which is more of a high production facility. And then my last rotation and my current position is validation engineering. So there are plenty of roles in the rotational program that you can be involved in.
Wonderful, thank you. Another question we had was if you do anything with 3D printers.
Ooh, who wants to take this one?
I can take this one.
Great, thanks, Drew.
At GID. Yeah, 3D printers are actually our best friends, especially when we're in the early on concept selection. It saves time. You know, we can print out what we think a part should look like, and we can test it. We can, pull test it, try to glue them together and see how they form fit with each other. Sometimes we outsource it, but we do have capabilities internally as well. But we work with a lot of outside firms that can actually get you pretty accurate parts with a 3D printer.
Awesome. Another question was, are there entry-level internships available for mechanical engineering majors?
Yes, definitely mechanical engineers, students who are going to school for that, there is definitely opportunities for them as well for internships at our company.
Perfect.
And again, those will be posted starting in January for Phillips-Medisize specifically for the summer. Otherwise, you can go onto the Koch site and see what's available right now for internships.
Next question. So considering your work with medical, pharma, and manufacturing drug and medical devices, do you have any internship opportunities available for a student pursuing pre-pharmacy?
I have never seen anyone in pre-pharmacy. I don't know about anybody else on the panel today. Mostly the internship or interns that we hire are for internships for manufacturing in a manufacturing environment. We do not have an R&D facility at Phillips-Medisize.
All right. Do you have any opportunities for graduate students?
There is the possibility. We have had masters, those who have graduated with a master's degree, for instance, in engineering, any kind of role in engineering that was listed in the prior screen. So we have a few. We don't hire a lot, but if we're looking for someone with those advanced skills and experience, we have in the past, yes.
All right. And I know you've mentioned this a couple of times, but just since the question was asked, I just want to come back to it. When are internship and full-time positions posted, and what does the actual like recruiting time frame look like?
So right now, the rotational program positions are posted currently, and we are interviewing and making offers. We hope to be finished with making offers mid-November for the rotational program. If we do not find all the engineers that we're looking for, the 10 that we would like to hire for 2021, then we will be, or if we have people who accept and then rescind later, we will then recruit in the spring as well. And again, internships, they're hiring for internships right now, summer internships for all the Koch enterprise companies. And you can look on that Koch website, early careers now. But for Phillips-Medisize specifically, we will start in January all the way through May or even into June for summer internships.
Wonderful, thank you. What can an interviewee expect during the interview process?
Ooh, I think I'll let one of the panel talk about that, their experience, maybe Richard.
Yeah, I can definitely speak to that. You know, when I interviewed for my internship, which I did last summer, you know, there was a few engineers in there, so it was, you know, who was going to be my manager was there, as well as the quality systems coordinator and another quality systems administrator. So I was interviewing for a quality engineer internship. And, you know, it was a lot of situational questions. You know, as an intern, they didn't really expect you to have a ton of technical experience yet. But they did, you know, ask about, you know, things I had been involved with in school and kind of the experience I had gotten from that. And then, you know, situational and behavior questions just to kind of see, you know, how you react to certain things. And, you know, they do a good job, you know, in my internship as well of, you know, trying to train you and give you the skills that you might not have. And a lot of times they're just looking for, you know, relatable experience where they could kind of see how you might react or, you know, things like that. So it was a very, you know, comfortable interview process, and it was probably, I think, 2 interviews in total for the internship before I got an offer. So it wasn't incredibly grueling like some companies are.
Megan, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I feel like Richard hit it pretty on the head. When I interviewed for the rotational program, I remember I was interviewing for a manufacturing position. So I was in a room with, I believe it was 4 or 5 manufacturing managers from all of our different facilities. And again, they just really want to get to know you and whether you'll be a good fit for the company, because you're as much interviewing Phillips-Medisize as they were interviewing me, just making sure that fit was there for both of us. And a lot of situational questions, like Richard said, making sure that, again, you'd be a good fit for what the company was looking for.
Awesome, thank you. So another question, and this is about the rotational program. The question was, since the rotations are in different areas, and I guess maybe I might kind of interject my own question here. When you do the rotational program, are they like in physically different cities, or are they all in one area, like one location?
So I can take that. They are in different cities. So the locations that we have in Wisconsin are Hudson, New Richmond, Menominee, and possibly Eau Claire. If you go the MedTrack device route, we do have a commercial track that would be Phillips, Wisconsin, and Medford. But we also offer rotation assignments in our Costa Mesa, California site, Little Rock, Arkansas, and Clinton, Massachusetts. And pre-COVID was internationally, such as Finland.
And then is the rotational program just for those who have graduated, or is that for students who are still in school?
It's for engineering graduates. So those that we are looking at now are December graduates or May graduates.
Perfect. Another question, are there internship opportunities available for students, especially grad students, in the connected devices area?
There could be. It just really depends on our hiring managers, our engineering managers, and what they need for the business.
Got it. So that is all the questions I've received so far. I guess I'd like to give just a couple minutes. If there's any other questions that students are still wanting to ask, go ahead and toss them into the chat. You all had great questions.
Mm-hmm. We could see too if anybody, if our panel has any little piece
any
of advice. Yeah,
that would be awesome. That would be
all
wonderful.
Right.
Yeah.
Breton, would you like to start? We'll kind of go in the row in the how we went in a row for the presentation.
Sorry, talking on mute there.
Oh, there.
Yeah, I was gonna add the question about the internship opportunities, if they're only available to grad students, or yeah, I think I rephrased that wrong, but I know it, like at least in my case, it, and again it depends on the hiring manager, but it could be a possibility to stay on as an intern while going to school after the original hire. That was my case, but again, it depends on that hiring manager.
Drew, do you have any tips for students?
I don't know that I have any tips, but the rotational program, I was in it for 2 rotations, and then now I'm actually in it as a mentor, and it's a great program. That video couldn't say it enough, that you get to try all these different disciplines and really find what you want to do and what you're good at in that too. So I really enjoyed my time in it, and I hope to see some of you guys as rotational engineers as well.
Megan?
Drew definitely took what I was going to say, because I was just going to say, yeah, talk up the rotational program. I graduated as an industrial engineer, so being able to go down so many different avenues, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to get into. So through the rotational program, I was able to do rotations in manufacturing engineer, quality engineering, and then human factors engineer. And all of those were at different facilities. So I kind of got to find what field was the best fit for me, and also which facility was the best for me. I feel like each of our facilities kind of had their own personality. So just kind of trying to find whatever works best for me within our company. So yeah, if you're not quite sure, I would definitely look into different rotational programs. I know that many companies do them, so just another thing to consider.
Breton, what was your major? Would you graduate?
I graduated with plastics engineering from Stout.
And Drew, how about you?
Agricultural engineering, actually.
There you go. All right.
I'm just going to jump in really quick here before we continue on. Just wanted to remind all the attendees, before you leave the Zoom session today, if you can fill out the registration form. Haley has posted the link in the chat here a few times. I think we have only had about 13 of you fill it out, and there's a lot more of you in here. So please be sure to complete that registration form before you log out today. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Belinda, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, well, for a tip, You know, I went to UW-Madison, and I would say, like, or attribute, you know, me finding a job, finding a co-op, finding an internship during my time there by using the engineering career services. And so I highly recommend for students to use their, whatever theirs is, their engineering career services, to polish up skills that they might not think that they need, such as like talking to people at the career fair. I went to one of those, a resume one, I went to one of those, an interview one. Those sessions that help you in understanding and being able to market yourself as a person. So as a biomedical engineer, you know, with the one question, it is a little bit more difficult to find a position. And, you know, I marketed myself as somebody who was able to communicate to a lot of different people. And funnily enough, that's my job now. So I would say that's my tip for, you know, students in the UW system. You know, we have a great, especially at UW-Madison, engineering career services, and it's best to utilize those.
Thank you so much for that. That's, I mean, working in a career services office, I think that's wonderful advice. So I appreciate that. And I'm sure I'm smiling ear to ear. I am sure that our counterparts are as well. We did have another question come in. We have a few minutes left. It's regarding the role of assembly at the Hudson Phillips-Medisize. Do you need any certifications to work in the clean rooms with your machinery?
I can answer that one.
Thanks, Richard.
Yeah, so I guess for any new hire at Phillips-Medisize, there's always like a large list of on-the-job training that you do kind of as the first thing, you know, for your first couple weeks. So there is a lot of training that they give you regarding, you know, clean rooms specifically. But then, you know, being a medical device manufacturer, there's also a lot of documents and standard operating procedures that you need to kind of familiarize yourself with, you know, kind of before you actually start working, just so you know, you kind of understand what you're working on and how people kind of do it at the facility. So no prior certifications are needed. There's a, you know, every site has a training coordinator who makes sure that if anybody's going to be, you know, working on anything or responsible for something, that they're appropriately trained, you know, on the job. So.
All right. And then one last question. So the question is that a student currently has a lease in Milwaukee, and so they would technically need to relocate, correct? Because all of these are on site. These aren't remote.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you so much to all of you for being here. This was really awesome. And thank you to the students who attended. You all had really, really great questions. And Chris, we just appreciate your partnership with us at UW Stout here and with our other UW schools. Just a quick shout out to the UW System Career Treks Committee for their collaboration on this project. And just so everyone knows, this video here was recorded, and so it will be made live for viewing no later than noon on Monday, and they can be found on the UW Treks oh my goodness, the UW System Treks website for you to view those afterwards. But thank you so much to everybody for being here, and we hope you all have the great rest of your day.
Thank you. We really appreciate your time and having the opportunity to be a part of this series.